Good afternoon, friends, colleagues, and distinguished guests. Welcome to the second annual Tenzin Delek Rinpoche Medal of Courage Award ceremony. My name is Pema Yoko, and I am the Interim Executive Director of Students for a Free Tibet. Today, July 12th, Tibetan Heroes Day, is a day dedicated to Tibetan human rights defenders who take extraordinary measures in the pursuit of justice, human rights, and freedom. This year, Students for a Free Tibet are honored to be hosting and organizing this special award ceremony with the support of International Tibet Network. I firstly would like to thank Carl Gershman, President of National Endowment for Democracy, and an unwavering champion in the struggle to promote human rights and freedom for all oppressed people. Our dear friend and partner in the movement, Tenzin Pelkila, and everyone at NED for their support for the Tibetan people for all of these years. And more to the point, I would like to thank you for allowing us to invade this territory and use this wonderful space to host today's event. And I would like to thank you all for taking the time to be here on this important occasion. Before we get into the main program, I would like to call on Nyimel Hamo, the niece of Tenzin Delek Rinpoche, to light the butter lamp in memory of Tenzin Delek Rinpoche and all those Tibetan heroes that have sacrificed their life for Tibet. Nyimel Hamo is the niece of Tenzin Delek Rinpoche, who arrived this weekend to Washington, D.C., to the USA, and she will be traveling across the US to amplify the case of Tenzin Delek Rinpoche. After the butter lamp ceremony, or the lighting of the butter lamp, we'll have a moment of silence in memory of Tenzin Delek Rinpoche and for all of those. We'll now have a moment of silence in memory of Tenzin Delek Rinpoche and the work that he has done in his life, and to all those Tibetan heroes. Thank you. 2 years ago today, while sitting in the campaign planning meeting with SFT's international staff, a meeting that included our action plans for our campaign to free Tenzin Delek Rinpoche, we received the message that Tenzin Delek Rinpoche had died. At first, I thought our contact must have been mistaken, and there was an error in his message to me. I asked him to confirm the information because I couldn't believe something like this would be true. Once he confirmed the information, our team was devastated. And that devastation turned to pain, frustration, and anger. And those feelings soon echoed across the Tibetan world and the international human rights community. We all know that Tenzin Delek Rinpoche should never have been behind those bars. And the fact that China allowed him to die in prison, despite the more than 12 years of international organizing, actions, advocacy from many governments, that feeling, it almost felt like everything that we do here doesn't mean anything. It was tempting to feel despair. But I think we all know, especially in this room, we know that despair gets us nowhere. And I think Rinpoche's life shows this. If he had despaired at the pitiful state of affairs in Tibet in the late 1970s, when he was organizing to rebuild Tibetan monasteries, if he had given up rather than standing up and fighting, imagine how different the world would look for the countless Tibetans he had helped, and even for all of us whose lives he touched. Rinpoche was truly relentless in his quest to build a better world. He took so many different projects and roles. He was an educator, an environmentalist, a religious teacher, a spiritual guide, and a tireless advocate for the Tibetan people's welfare. And despite the unimaginable suffering he had faced under the Chinese authorities, he never refused. He refused to give up. He refused to stay silent. He refused to surrender. Even in prison, he never gave up on proclaiming his innocence or fighting for justice. Unfortunately, Tenzin Delek Rinpoche is exactly the Tibetan that the Chinese cannot tolerate. And they spent many years trying to undermine his influence. And ultimately, they put him in prison to silence him for good. And although his death was a terrible blow to the Tibetan world and goes against all that is good in this world, the very fact that we are here today remembering his life, his truth, we are defying the CCP's design to proliferate oppression. I believe the absolute best way we can pay tribute to this incredible man who dedicated his life to the Tibetan people and our beautiful land is to be relentless in our pursuit for justice. To never give up the fight, and to never ever give in to despair. And this rings true today as we face the terrible reality that Nobel Peace Prize winner Liu Xiaobo is dying of cancer. And again, rather than despair, we have to use this opportunity to turn our sadness and our anger into action. Now it is up to us to ensure that their voices are never silenced. And not only must we work to continue their work, but we must amplify it. And how do we do this? We have to do this through relentless action. At every possible turn, we must confront and expose Chinese leaders who lie about Tibet and their horror and the horrific human rights abuses. We must search for every space and opportunity to bring pressure to Beijing to address the Tibetan people's grievances and to end the occupation. And yes, we as leaders of the movement, need to work together to create opportunities for effective advocacy. And we need to do more to get our governments to do the same. Moving forward from here, we will continue to fight for justice in the name of Tenzin Delek Rinpoche and Liu Xiaobo, and all of those who have inspired us to believe that a better world, a free world, is possible. Thank you. I would now like to invite Congressman McGovern, member of the 2nd Congressional District of Massachusetts. McGovern has proven time and time again to be a strong advocate for Tibet. He pushes Tibet in the US government in the Capitol. And I think today, this morning, with his hearing, he has given time and time again Tibetans the voice to amplify their stories, as we witnessed this morning with Nyima Lamo. I would like to thank you, Congressman McGovern, and invite you to the stage.
Well, thank you very much, and let me thank you very much for the introduction and for the powerful words. I couldn't help but notice that if you go to my office in Washington, downtown, this poster is framed and hanging in my office, and so I have a great affection for the Students for a Free Tibet and for so many people in this audience. I want to apologize at the outset that I'm going to be here briefly because we're in the middle of committee votes and then votes on the House floor. But I wanted to be here because I think it's important. And let me also acknowledge Carl Gershman, President of the National Endowment for Democracy. Carl is a genuine hero of mine, not only on issues of human rights with regard to Tibetans, but issues of human rights regarding every people around the world who are oppressed. He's out front, and he's relentless, and so it's kind of appropriate that you're having this gathering here today. I can't think of a better place, and it's great to be here with so many of my friends, Matteo, and I want to thank you and all members of the International Campaign, and I want to thank Penpa as well for his leadership and his guidance, and so many people who are here today. But I'm grateful for the invitation to join you this evening for the Tenzin Delek Rinpoche Medal of Courage Award ceremony. I can think of no better remembrance for Tenzin Delek Rinpoche than this award, which honors Tibetan human rights defenders who have taken extraordinary measures in the pursuit of freedom, justice, and human rights. I can think of no better cause than to stand in solidarity with the far too many Tibetan prisoners of conscience still in custody in China. I remember receiving the news 2 years ago of the tragic and unnecessary death in a Chinese prison of the revered Tibetan monk Tenzin Delek Rinpoche. At the time, this peaceful man was in his 13th year of a 21-year sentence for allegedly causing explosions and exciting separatism, charges he steadfastly denied, and charges we all know are wrong. He was serving his unjust sentence under very harsh conditions. He was not well, so at a minimum, he should have been released on medical parole. In fact, just a few weeks earlier, I had written to the United States State Department to encourage our government officials to pressure for his release on medical parole because of the reports that he was suffering from serious health problems. But medical parole was not granted. China turned a callous eye to my pleas and the pleas of so many others, and as a result, Tenzin Delek Rinpoche died. The Chinese authorities bear direct responsibility for his unnecessary death, and accountability for their actions is still lacking. 2 years ago, I called for an independent international investigation into the circumstances of Tenzin Delek Rinpoche's death, but that has not happened, and it needs to happen. So this evening, I renew that call. China has neither provided truth nor ensured justice. The only way to move forward is to allow a credible international team to investigate. But let us not focus tonight only on the tragedies of the past. Let us also celebrate the incredible resilience and commitment of the Tibetan people, both within Tibet and outside of Tibet. You know, it has been my great privilege to get to know many Tibetans who find themselves far from their land of origin. I have the greatest respect for your struggles and your persistence. You are blessed with a strong community and deep spiritual strength, and you give me hope. You know, it may take a long time to put an end to many of the challenges that the Tibetan community face, but I firmly believe that justice will prevail. I believe that we have an opportunity to achieve change. And despite all these odds, I mean, I stand before you as somebody who is hopeful and optimistic about the future, who is inspired by the momentum on this issue that I have seen grow and grow and grow over the years. And I say that not just because I had the privilege of spending some time with His Holiness the Dalai Lama in Dharamsala, India, in early May, along with Leader Nancy Pelosi and a delegation, a bipartisan delegation. I say that because of the people that I meet in this room and the people who live in my district who are from Tibet. I mean, everybody's hopeful. And I believe that things are going to change. If I didn't, I would not be here. If I didn't, I wouldn't join you in this effort. So let me just say that I promise to continue to work with you and support your efforts. And I want you to know that I have your back, that a lot of members in Congress, Democrats and Republicans, have your back. We are not going away. We are going to stand with you in solidarity because this is an important cause. This is a right cause. You know, this morning, the Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission held a hearing on religious freedom in Tibet, and many good ideas and recommendations were discussed. And some of the people who testified are here today. Dr. Dorji of USURF is here. You have a great presentation. Ajia Rinpoche testified. Todd Stein, I say he's here, was a great friend and a great ally and on this issue, and we appreciate all of his work. And Nyama Lambo, Tenzin Delek Rinpoche's niece, gave a very powerful presentation. It was moving, and it was important. I know it was painful, but it was important. You know, I tell people all the time that members of Congress are inundated with facts and figures and statistics and reports all the time. Sometimes I feel we're inundated with so many facts and figures that we've lost our human ability to feel them. But when you testify today, when all of you testify today, it makes this issue real, because it talks about the human impact, that there are real people who are being oppressed. And I want you to know how important that is. And I know it's painful, but you need to keep on telling the stories. And so tonight we're here commemorating a great man and honoring Tibetan human rights defenders. And I encourage you to keep up the good work. And again, I just want you all to know that I believe we're making progress. I believe that there's a light at the end of this tunnel. And so I encourage everybody not to give up and to keep on fighting the good fight. And I say fight in a way that the Dalai Lama would appreciate. And I don't want to sound like the Dalai Lama like here. But the bottom line is that this is important. And I'll just finally say that I believe that if the United States of America stands for anything, we need to stand out loud and foursquare for human rights. And if we don't stand up on behalf of the Tibetan people, then we have lost our moral authority to talk about human rights. That's how important this issue is. So I thank you so much for welcoming me here today, and I thank you for all that you do. Thank you.
McGovern is definitely a leader that inspires Tibetans, not only here in exile, but Tibetans inside Tibet. And I think on behalf of the Tibetan community in exile, we thank him for his continued support. He's not only a leader that just talks about the issues, he's a leader that acts, that takes the action that is needed. Before we announce the recipient of the 2017 Tenzin Delek Rinpoche Medal of Courage Award, we will have a few remarks by some of our special guest speakers. I now would like to invite our first guest speaker, Carl Gershman, President of the National Endowment for Democracy, a tireless and outspoken advocate for democracy and human rights, and an advocate for the justice for Tenzin Delek Rinpoche.
Thank you so much, Pema. Wonderful to be here with so many friends, Sharon, Young, Lee, Mateo, Nima Lamo. Wonderful to have you with us today. Geshe Jamyang Nima, who was with us in June of 2016 when we presented the service medal to Tenzin Delek, and of course to Pema, my very good friend. When I gave a message to the memorial service that was held for Tenzin Delek at the end of the mourning period, at the end of August of 2015, I noted what happened first. You know, the fact that he was killed. He did not die a natural death. The fact that he was secretly cremated. The fact that his ashes were stolen as they were being taken to his hometown for a memorial ceremony. The fact that people who demonstrated against this injustice were beaten up or arrested. The internet was shut down, repression increased. And in that message, I asked a question, and I just want to, and I still have this question on my mind. What kind of a government would commit such despicable, inhuman, criminal acts against an innocent and peaceful man? It's a government that is bent on cultural genocide, as His Holiness the Dalai Lama has said, and it's a government that considers the mere expression of Tibetan cultural and religious identity to be a criminal act. And I mean, you mentioned Liu Xiaobo, and it's really the same thing. It's really the same thing. I mean, who is Liu Xiaobo? What did he do? He's an intellectual. He's a moral leader. He was a voice for freedom, a peaceful voice for freedom. And that kind of a voice cannot be tolerated. And so he was arrested right after the publication of the Charter 08 Declaration. He was arrested and put in prison. He was not able to be present at the ceremony where he was given the Nobel Peace Prize, and Liu Xiaobo, Lib Ullman delivered his marvelous statement at his trial, "I have no enemies." a beautiful statement in which he talked about his ideas and also declared in the most moving way his love for Liu Jie, his wife. And yet he was imprisoned. As with Tenzin Delek, he wasn't given medical attention, contracted hepatitis, and he is now dying of liver cancer because he was not given medical attention. He too is being murdered. And they won't let him now, despite all the international publicity, they won't let him come to the West for treatment, but also so that he could speak to people and give his last message. And we have a question that we all face in these types of situations. And there are a lot of very difficult situations in the world today, but really none is more difficult than China and the situation of Tibet. And I think it was addressed by Pema when she said, you never give up the fight, you never give in to despair. And you've got, how do you maintain hope in this kind of a situation? Havel, who had nominated Liu Xiaobo for the Nobel Peace Prize and was a very close friend of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, he said that hope is really not a prognostication, a prediction about the future. It's a dimension of the heart, of the soul. And in that sense, you never give up hope, because if you gave up hope, you would give up your humanity. But there are ways also to maintain hope. And I think one thing that can be done to maintain hope is just remembrance. Remembrance. Who was Tenzin Delek? What did he represent? At the event we had where we gave him our Democracy Service Medal, His Holiness was there, Lobsang Sangye was there as well. We had a wonderful gathering. And this picture, which is in the program, of Tenzin Delek at an orphan's school, was on the screen when we had the ceremony. I found it the most moving picture because what did he do? Who was he? He was somebody who promoted health and education. He was somebody who helped orphans and to build homes for orphans and helped educate orphans. He tried to prevent the destruction of Tibet's fragile environment. He opposed mining that polluted rivers and poisoned the soil. He condemned deforestation that led to flooding and soil erosion. He protested against indiscriminate hunting that led to the extinction of species. He was a voice for the culture of the people of Tibet, for the religion of the people of Tibet, and he was popular. And that's why he could not be tolerated. And he was an entirely peaceful man. And when we gave him the award, I pointed out that he was convicted of terrorism and violence. And he had said, I have always taught people that one should not harm any life, not even that of an ant. How could I possibly then be responsible for such an action? And it is really just a contemptible lie. I mean, and again, what kind of a government? We have to think about that. China is an important country. What kind of a government would do something like that? And how do we, as we said at the time, how do we keep Tenzin Delek, as one of the Tibetan activists said, a living and a breathing presence in our lives? And we do it by having an event like we have today. And we also do it by giving an award in his name to honor other Tibetans, and there are so many, who are carrying out the struggle, and to encourage people to act in the memory of someone like Tenzin Delek, to understand who he was and to act in his memory. And there's one more reason that I think we can find hope. And it really comes back to Liu Xiaobo. He was arrested because he was the leading author of Charter 08. And Charter 08, like the Czech Charter 77, it was modeled on that was Havel's document, was a statement about China and about the hope for a democratic, free China, and it outlined how that would happen. And not only was it a statement about democracy and freedom and tolerance and checks and balances and the rule of law, It was also a statement about religious freedom, and it was a statement that had an article in the charter about how if and when China enters into a process of democratic transition, they will deal with the issue of minorities, and how to really establish China as a federated, decentralized country that respects the individual, the integrity of the separate cultures that exist in that country, something His Holiness has argued for, for the last 3 or 4 decades, the core principle of his whole life. And, that is intolerable. And, Liu Xiaobo had written an essay in which he said that the pillars of Chinese totalitarianism, and he wrote this a little over a decade ago, are in the process of decaying. And he identified 4 pillars, one of which was economic, and this was sort of eroding because of the economic change. One of which was organizational, where the government had totally controlled the organizational space, but there was much more mobility under current circumstances. One of them was mental, where they controlled how people thought, and that was all breaking down because of the spread of the internet, even though they tried very, very hard to hold on to this. And all they really had left, he said, was political centralization, which was eroding. And the Chinese government is a government which is based on fear. They fear people like Liu Xiaobo and Tenzin Delic. That's something we have to remember. They fear people who speak freely, people who represent the kind of values that Congressman McGovern spoke about. They're afraid of that. Why? Because they know that this is what people want, and they know that that is where the changes that China is going through is carrying China. And it is going to happen. A lot of the specialists that we work with see it as inevitable. And the more they try to close it off, the more they accelerate this process. And they're trying very, very hard to close off the possibility of any change today. But, it's not going to work. And I just want to close by quoting something that Liu Xiaobo said in his closing statement of his trial, which we've all been read at the Nobel ceremony. And he said, "There is no force that can put an end to the human quest for freedom. And China will, in the end, become a nation ruled by law where human rights reign supreme." I think that's true. It's a bad period right now. I can understand why people may be discouraged. But I think we can have hope, not only because it's a dimension of the heart and the soul, as Havel said. I think we can have hope because that is where history is carrying China. And the government will resist it. They will kill people like Tenzin Delic and Liu Xiaobo, but they won't resist it forever. And it is our obligation to keep the flame alive, never to give up hope. And in the end, I think we will see freedom for the people of China and especially for the people of Tibet. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. I think, yes, China fear Liu Xiaobo. They fear his courage, just the way they did with Tenzin Delic Rinpoche. And I hope that we will continue their work, so their voices are never silenced. I would now like to invite Dorje Setin, our Asia Director and Member of Tibetan Parliament, to introduce Nyima Lamo and to say a few words on Tenzin Delic Rinpoche campaign.
Hello everyone. I've been asked to introduce Nyima Lamo, but I think every one of us here know about Nyima Lamo, what she has gone through. But I thought to share some of my personal experience since I met her when she arrived from Tibet. I think two weeks ago, when we were in Delhi, when I was helping her to get the US visa, she told me that she had a dream. And in her dream last night, people are telling that His Holiness Dalai Lama is returning to Tibet. And people are packing, so she was telling me how joyful experience that is. And she asked me, will that day come? I think this is a dream that every Tibetan inside Tibet and in exile for the last over 60 years, Tibetans are dreaming for. And this is a dream that Tenzin Delek Rinpoche, I believe, had. Today, let me remind you that we are here not just to mourn, but to remember the legacy of Tenzin Delek Rinpoche. We are here to celebrate how he had worked for Tibet and how we will continue our struggle for Tibet. When Nyima Lamo first arrived in Dharamsala, I was helping her for an interview with a reporter, and she shared me her experience with Rinpoche. Nyima Lamo was in the school that Rinpoche started, orphanage school, and that was when she was very young. It was really cold, as you know, like Tibet is really cold, and Rinpoche was distributing blanket to his students at the orphanage school. And somehow Nyima Lamo didn't get it because it was out. And she said she was upset at that time because she was young, that her uncle didn't love her. But later on, Rinpoche came to her and said, don't worry about it. These are the students, these are the kids who don't have their parents. I will get you one new one. And that way, I can understand what kind of person Rinpoche was. How he loved everyone, not just his family, but everyone. But it is sad that he's not with us today. But it is also difficult and it is unimaginable for me to think that Nyima Lamo is with us today. I remember right after the cremation, forcefully cremation of Tenzin Delek Rinpoche body, on 17 July, we got a news from Geshe Nyima, who was in constant touch inside Tibet, that Nyima Lamo and her mother was detained. And we were so much concerned, and we take action. We wrote to our leaders, we call our leaders to pressure China and ask questions where they are, from embassy, US embassy in Chengdu, to other leaders. And I can see people here today, all of us had done a lot that time. I can see ICT, member of ICT also came in that time, Tibet office also, and a lot of activists here from New York. Every one of us was concerned. But because of our action, because we were united, after almost 2 weeks, Nyima Lamo and her mother, Dokha Lamo, was released. I think because of our action, I believe she's with us. If we stand united, if we fight, I think we can win. This is a hard time for our movement, for Tibetan movement, for democracy in China, how Liu Xiaobo is suffering. I think this is a time for us to unite and jointly take action so that we can make China accountable for the crime. I'll also take a moment to share about Rinpoche Student Committee, who had done so much work for Tenzin Delek Rinpoche. They have members in almost 10 countries and very instrumental that time for us during our campaign, giving us information. And I was told to tell that on this day, when we are celebrating Tenzin Delek Rinpoche, Tenzin Delek Rinpoche student group had started this memorial scholarship, and they are giving it to Tibetan children in India, and also they are giving in the name of Tenzin Delek Rinpoche some amount of support to the elder people. So I think we are all here because we believe in Tenzin Delek Rinpoche. It is sad that he is no longer with us, but I think he will be always with us in our work for Tibet, in our love for Tibet, in our struggle. As long as we continue, we will win the dream. We will get the dream that Rinpoche had lay down his life for. Thank you very much. And with that, I would like to invite Niman Hamo to share her experience, and I will also try to translate. Please welcome Niman Hamo. I'd like to welcome everyone today. I came here with great hope and expectation. My uncle was arrested. He was an innocent man. And for justice for Kizikere Rinpoche, I came here with the expectation. In 2002, when Rinpoche was arrested, among the high official leaders and Lama, Rinpoche said he is innocent. He was charged because he had worked for Tibet, he cared for Tibet. And Losam Thundu was also arrested because they believe in His Holiness Dalai Lama, because they follow the path of His Holiness Dalai Lama. Rinpoche suffered for 13 years in Chinese prison. During early time, Rinpoche told Niman Hamo mother, Rinpoche's sister Doga Lamo, that Chinese police beat him a lot, and even told him that if he is a reincarnated Lama, show the magical power. But Rinpoche has never had any hard feeling to the Chinese police and told that he is innocent. It is important to fight for his justice. His only crime is he loved for Tibet and he followed the path of His Holiness Dalai Lama.
ina de mesa tripe ruba chi kola jana ma reo mo te sa so ji reo chi ga mi te nese mo te ka ni ji nese mo te do yu so mo ji te no zo na me ina ka ma de chu ji ho de ko
For 13 years, Rinpoche family and students and local community people appealed to Chinese government for a fair trial and release of Desiderate Rinpoche. But their appeal was never accepted. Moreover, they were beaten, they were harassed. Rinpoche family need to take permission whenever they have to go out.
Tamaze Robachi, Jana Jusi of Jim, Berry, Chenadilla, Robert Manaku, Yapogo, on Yato Batgonda, what's Sonina, Robert Dusa chain, Jim, how many saw get chain? Was a tragedy genius in a mala, go to the Tassan. Diana to the chiller. The Sony among the unending chills was that chin Martin, how much number. Dari tujuh, Sony tujuh dan tujuh. Ini tu jangan dalam tak rumah cendera sahaja.
Desiderate Rinpoche, when he was in prison, family at the last moment, family were told by the Chinese police that they can meet Rinpoche, and they traveled from hometown to Chengdu where Rinpoche was arrested. But they were not allowed to meet and kept for 10 days and finally told that Rinpoche has been already passed away.
Tapi no, ni moment sudah cendera tapi jangan rasa bakat kemudian masih rumah cendera. Tamu cendera tola ya bukan masih. Masih jika kakak cakap meriah, cendera buat kamu tu dagang. Kemudian rumah cendera tu tata mesti tu macam guna cendera. Amat tu kosku, cuma bodoh. Dari kui, mini pode mandar cendera tu. Enggak, ini tadi masih kalau dia tu jelas masih. Cendera tu kayaknya dunia tu kesamnya. Masih kalau ni juga gini nanti ya, dia main sana jelas masih.
So when we arrived at Chengdu outside the Chinese prison, we protest and claim for Rinpoche's body. We shouted, "You have killed Rinpoche." Nimalamo mother, Jogalamo, banged her head on the wall by protesting and saying that we want to see the body. And Nimalamo tried to suicide because she thought that that's the only action. By doing that, the news will go out and people will know what is happening. So she believed that Rinpoche was murdered by Chinese government.
Mulai jam, orang jangan cina, tak tahu. Rumah cendera mana tamu, PJ dior, PJ dior, hemba dior. Ya lazim. Tena res. Tak apa tu sejauh tena. Nama rumah cendera mana satu, kamu jangan baca. Mesti jauh tahu betul, tu tergaru. Jauh ni betul. Rumah cendera kudu le caci tahu. Я как могу извините. Почему они как значит он? Я сама рубачик, куда я тем? Mas jatuh juga. Mesti sama. Cuma nami jatuh. Jauh juga. Rubachik ni pun ni tu. Ini je masuk ya tiap masuk. Cici ni, tadi. Jangan apa. Rumah cengkeh si, kudo yang mati masuk sih segitu apa ini. Sama tiap. Jangan cici jangan masuk. Rumah cengkeh kudo, nak Sony desa. Kudo masuk. Kita tiap.
And they were finally, when they were allowed to go inside the prison, the authority asked a written concern. First point they made was, under the Chinese constitution, they have to keep the body of Tenzin Delek Rinpoche for 15 days. And they have asked about the cause of Rinpoche's death. And they have asked about the body that Rinpoche family and community member want to do final Buddhist rite. They have asked for the medical report of the cause of the death. And they have said, if they don't accept these asks, they will consider the Chinese government had murdered Tenzin Delek Rinpoche. But their request was rejected. More than that, the body was not handed over to the family and forcefully cremated. Not even ash was given to the family member.
如果去世以后是结婚去的人呢，我们过这个多少钱呢？他们去看我退休。但如果去当父亲就等于，面这样我得，人外也很。但如果去，只有通过这个呢，如果是觉得200个点死了，你还去搞我这个觉得100个点死了，就这么好处嘛。 如果他们这样的话，那点话用，然后去了，他自己就点了，然后毛不的，然后几个住。如果是这样去了，那我是不懂几三个的。如果去，不懂什么个，我这个如果去，什么拿过来的？ 也死了，你看他，看对你上面的他是，我们去自己门前的，别人的咱们就到哪，这把是等于去过多个嘛，小路连咱，咱你从如果这个都是什么的发的，去过去到哪里，咱怎么到？ 我那里上去，有当时写着的，但如果写他们记了。
So no medical report was given to the family. Even the time of the death was changing. Chengdu prison authority was saying 2 p.m. But then later on they were changing to 4 p.m. And they didn't keep the body for 15 days as per the Constitution of China. And when finally family were allowed to see Rinpoche's body to do a small prayer, what they have witnessed is Rinpoche's nail and lips were black. They have this suspicion that Rinpoche was poisoned.
三年开始写这个酒，写这个东，正方的酒，俺们问你给人酒，他问你结果给咋整？才这个咋整的都检查出来，咱我是给了我谁去对了？小龙那个地方，如果去搞了，写没去。 但是你看他，家那我们就在路边去，这个我们写没去。但是上班的，但是我把它，晓得怎么去？开始的上是个老人，我从那到就是这，当时如果去搞了许多么个得菜，但是现在如果去点菜的，菜什么？真的了。
After cremation of Tenzin Delek Rinpoche, Nyima Lamo and her mom Joka Lamo was detained for 2 weeks, and then at the end they were told that they need to sign and make some agreement that they will not talk about Tenzin Delek Rinpoche. They will not talk about Tenzin Delek Rinpoche to the community member and to the outside world. And they cannot gather and do prayer, but then they deny to take to do the signature on that.
但是没去买啥物件了，年轻的这个敲着上，那么的没这种就做了那些物件，一般我看不去，年轻的如果就把当不去，要多不把人跳过去，如果就个把下去嘛。如果觉得连续做呢，连续做不去。那是不能写点了。如果是没写这个，确定的是确定的不去。如果这个价格这个出了年一次，也没涨过。如果经济的这种我给的超过也出了没涨多一点是，这个算好工。
Later on, they announced about saying that Rinpoche is a fake Lama, and they told that people cannot gather, they cannot do prayer in the name of Rinpoche, they cannot even hold things in the Rinpoche image, and the family member and the community member were not allowed to make stupa in the memory of Tenzin Rinpoche. And Tenzin Rinpoche remaining things were confiscated and burned.
Yeah. Guy in the job doesn't know. Robert Chicken, Jana, inside gave me that. You, check up on my car, her say, and I'm going to go. How about this one? Some of them is more than in the show in some of Robert the judges. More dream is still. Need to just send a queen. He said, "We're all loaded to buy the Robert in there, have a jet. Monday to jail. Come on, she did the. No, what a guy in the to the family. I'm going on to the super and each letters and a message part of the girl. Robert in that's how it's doing. Robert Chigajawa, Robert Chigden was still in my own mother, judging her.
All these 13 years when Rinpoche was in prison, he have never given up, saying that he is innocent, and he asked his family member to fight for justice. She came here with hope, and all this year for your support for Tenzin Rinpoche. She requests to continue your support, and she thanked Students of Free Tibet for the campaign that Students of Free Tibet done after Rinpoche's death in Chinese prison. She thanked again for everyone for joining here today.
Thank you, Nimona, for her courage and bravery. I would like to now announce the 2017 recipient of the Tenzin Delek Rinpoche Medal of Courage Award to Tashi Wangchuk. In 2015, Tashi Wangchuk traveled from his hometown in eastern Tibet to Beijing to try to file for a lawsuit against the local Chinese authorities for denying Tibetans the right to learn in their own language. His quest was featured in the New York Times video report and article, Tibetans Fight to Salvage Fading Culture in China, in November 2015, in which he said, quote, "My goal is to change things a little bit, to push to preserve some of our nation's culture. The entire Tibetan ethnic nationality and culture is at risk of disappearing." Close quote. 2 months later, in January 2016, Tashi was detained by China's authorities and in March 2016, he was charged with inciting separatism and faces up to 15 years in prison. By honouring Tashi Wangchuk, we pay tribute to the enormous personal courage and dedication to the rights of the Tibetan people. We also pay tribute to the thousands of other Tibetans in Tibet who have spent years of their lives unfairly imprisoned or detained for the important role they play in the struggle for Tibetan freedom. I would now like to share with you a short video.
Tashi Wangchuk la Tashi Dalem, Keranki, Pepelate Nantu, Parik Lokume, Chendu, Kempe Chepala, Gajo.
Even though it might be hard for you right now, you should know that the sun will shine in Tibet one day.
The action we took showed us the importance of learning of our own mother tongue.
You inspire and motivate Tibetans around.
I, on behalf of all the Tibetans in New York City, truly support your action. Thank you.
Thank you, Tashi Wangchuk.
Nyima Lamo will present the award to two Tibetan students based in Washington, D.C. And before I call them, I would like to introduce the two Tibetan students. Kumki Bashi is a Tibetan American born here in D.C. metropolitan area in Arlington, Virginia. She is the newest graduate of the Capital Area Tibetan Association Sunday Tibetan School, where she has been a student since the age of 5. She will be attending the Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia, where she will pursue a career in nursing. Tenzin Seduk is also a young member of the Capital Area Tibetan community. He is a student at the Sunday Tibetan School and most recently the winner of Tibet Fund and the Office of Tibet's jointly sponsored Tibetan reading competition, where young Tibetans from around North America took part. I would like to call on Nyima Lamo to present the award to the two students.
In addition to that, today nye Tashi Wangchuk la kitsap chen tangma lingyo chungwa gaushra chong. Thank you, Baba Yokala, for the kind introduction. Good evening, everyone. It is such an honor to be here today on behalf of Tashi Wangchuk. As a Tibetan American born in exile, I have enjoyed the privilege of attending Tibetan school since I can remember. Having always had the opportunity to learn my language freely, the circumstances of Dishin Wangchuk's detainment are disturbing to me. In my opinion, he committed no crime. He was not seeking any form of separatism. His only aim was to ensure the preservation of Tibetan language and identity in accordance with the Chinese law. In return, I promise to do my small part here in exile, to continue learning and holding on to the Tibetan language as best as I can. And anytime I feel my motivation faltering, I will remind myself of your battle for inspiration, so that the sacrifices you have made for Tibetans my age and for generations to come will not be in vain. Thank you again for this amazing honor, and I'm so grateful for institutions like the National Endowment for Democracy, who promote freedom and who recognize courageous defenders for human rights around the world, such as Geshe Wanjala.
Hello everyone. What a great honor to represent my hero and our hero, Geshe Wanjala, to receive this award. I feel especially blessed to be here today, in a country where it is not only acceptable to talk openly about topics like freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and freedom of press, but to also practice them. The same is not true in Tibet, as we can all witness from what had happened to Geshe Wanjala. Geshe Wanjala is a hero for me and all Tibetans. His call for the preservation of the Tibetan language reminds that we all have an equal responsibility to join his call by engaging in practical steps and bringing fruition to his wish, which so strongly resonates with the wishes of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and all Tibetans. All he advocated for was the Chinese government to respect their own constitution and give the right to the Tibetan people to study their own language. His arrest is a powerful reminder of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's constant message to the Tibetan people about the importance of preserving the Tibetan language, and I see it as our responsibility as Tibetan Americans to fulfill his hopes. Geshe Wanjala, 대링 만zo ki itsap shude, chaga di shugi yoyo. Jingmen ke la rawan tope, samzu, chaga di nusu ke la bultope jawata meno shugi. Geshe Wanjala, today we're receiving this award on your behalf, but I do look forward to passing this to you in person upon your release. Finally, I'd like to thank the SFT for recognizing Geshe Wanjala in remembrance with another great hero of Tibet, Tulku Tenzin Delep Rinpoche. Thank you, NAD, for all your support.
Thank you. I would now like to call on Pemba Tseringa, the representative of the Tibet office in North America. Thank you.
First, I want to commend Student for Free Tibet for instituting this award in the name of Tulku Tenzin Delep Rinpoche. I don't know, and you are awarding this to Geshe Wanjala, who is incarcerated because of his passion to preserve the Tibetan language. And much of the audience tonight here is Tibetan, so maybe the rest of the things I'll speak in Tibetan. Since there are many speakers, I won't take much time. Darim, Tulku Tenzin Delep Rinpoche Sendolia, and if you're on the Soviet Shagachi, that you gay Sunjo Bichedo, Susu, Rawan Vedan Cheje, and Simla, and Jayak, and to Chunjek, and the Jujundalia, to Puegi, Itone, Jidangi Chagadi, to the Telegram Shake, Sendolia, so you will deep around the Soviet. Julian to Shirangaju Shuatan. Anna Shingi, that I do then the little share. Send on it, the shoe you do. Taring you with that do then the little share on the Zoni, Boni Koyori, to the Bessie Jungi. Tinjim Delia, do then the little share, and in the town. Le Dan Yan, Jesuit Shuya, 저 지난이 금성로 하는 그 미리당 그 댄식 전도 아니 공의 주연체 소수기 소연제 너나남지 디 제네 슈고야지다 아니 생다 디 주네 단단 양심백이 변화로냐 아니 저 신문주 라소베 단 정말 방식 도심 대열의 뒤에서 군주기 아니야 너한테 아주 제시한 슈고야다 단단 루준이 소문난 신체니 군주 변화 중에 말하다 유습사에 도심에 있나 이게 장애 그거 말하고 전체니 아니 맨다 세고야 그게 주무지 대충 주라니 메이나 변화는 이게 이게 더 최악의 최대 터져 나시 하는 정한 남주대열의 게임에서 한다 그런 높은 얘기 남된 소도 소나서 전주나 유행의 버스 한국도 중계 수익이 그게 기 거리야 그것이 그러니까 유명한데 아니 다행한 그 디뷰네 전수 슈거의 지당 아니 파워도 근데 슈거는 신체제 전주나 유행의 그것이 수술 강류 신유기 아니 그게 여러 최고의 가장 메인백이 전기 전설이야 케토가 지구가 내가 친구들 성유 중대스들의 음식 다 배준 삼치제 중대스들의 음식나 신체기 아니 단다 변화로 전부 먹고 쉬우지 너무 먹고 쉬우지 중 하나 변실 음식에 지내제 중대스들의 음식 이가기 정당 내업이 지구수 차대가래 그지 구종을 내업이 차대가래 대마인백이 전주체가 르르체가这样 다 정한 남이야 예동 해매 당시 만 조용히도 생각한다 다 류기 자원이네 맞춰야 실은 예와 차별 값수 만 조용히 내단도 신차되기 열이 대인 생각 호남수 내단지 제전슈 토네가 생존 나오리야 나온 요에 대해 당시 그러나 영의 인수익 그동 양심의 인수익이 구접체제 애니치 전문이 나오냐 그 내단 세주체 투부 최고의 딩은 그 상황에 내게 성유 주된들의 음식이 그도 경sha와 팀판에 민주주기 대신이 전문이 디나로 제법 별이 멈추 중다 별이 멈추리야 주도 쉬어래 나이 메인에 디가 대표 맞추는 한도 속소리 지든 한도 나올래 그도 멈추어래 조조 멈추셔래 계속 시바 망불래 예수 망고 필요해 예수 필요 나로네 아니 중 멈추기 내 조례디 주된들 음식 내단다 제외 토안네 기급수 내 망슈도 조스 아디 야시로 급수 메네 내면서난 중문에 있는데 의미직수 문에 있는데 중대 말도 초과문에 있는데 디토리아 칼레 시라이가비오를 상물로기 칼레 겨버디기다 나한수 더나 신치기 sonda 루투요 말때 이내 두된들의 음식이 관상다 링도 대를 때니 구소쇼고 중요할 때 이내 그와 진리야 아니 심슈게 유 슈슈슈지 차이어스 무슨 성부요 I also take this opportunity to mention Liu Xiaobo. I think Liu Xiaobo has also undergone similar situation, just like Karl Gershman too. If he were to be given the treatment when he was incarcerated, he would not be in the position that he is right now. And to witness the Mishra also went through the same thing. Many other political prisoners or prisoners of conscience are also going through the same thing. I appreciate National Endowment for Democracy for conferring the Democracy Service Medal to Dr. Mishra last June in the presence of His Holiness Dalai Lama, and Sidong Dr. Lobsang Sengye was also present at that time. And I want to thank NAD again for providing the facilities to SFG for organizing this award ceremony. Thank you.
I would now like to introduce or ask to dear friend and colleague Matteo, the president of International Campaign for Tibet, who we have worked together side by side with Tibet groups around the world to continue to amplify the message of Tibet. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Bema. Since we are honoring native language, maybe I should speak Italian, but only my wife will understand. I'm not worried about Pemba because we work so closely, so we have many opportunities to talk. And the ambassador will speak in Oroquian, is the Cherokee language. But apart from the brief introduction, I want to thank SFD for organizing this event and NED. This time is especially important to come to such institution. Democracy promotion is not something that can be changed, we believe, from administration to administration, and the fact that institutions like NED exist. Like this morning we had the commissioner from the US Commission on International Religious Freedom, also instituted by Congress. I think it's one of the strengths of American democracy, and we should be all remember that this is important for our work. And I want to thank Nima Lamo for continue to seek justice for Tenzin Gyatso Rinpoche, but also for relentlessly traveling the world to tell the story. And I think we all felt today when she was speaking, we were a little bit with her in Tibet, understanding how the people inside Tibet feel in this occasion. And Tenzin Gyatso Rinpoche was not a common man. He was a great teacher, he was a community leader, he was revered. But what happened to him is not uncommon. We at ICT, we have identified from 2008 to 2014, at least 14 people who died as a result of torture while in detention. Other 29 were badly injured. We know there are dozens of young Tibetans who are now in prison because they carry the picture of the Dalai Lama in the street. There are over 100 people who have either disappeared or been detained because they were relatives of people who self-immolated. They have punished the families and the villages of the people who self-immolated. So this is an example, an important example to remember, but it's unfortunately the reality that happens to many Tibetans. And what happened to Tenzin Gyatso Rinpoche, just add a few words. He was convicted for a fake trial, fake charges. No legal representation, anything. But before that, he was accused many, many times because of what he was doing in the community. He had to apologize to the authorities for opening a school. He had to apologize because he was concerned about the environment. And in what he has written, his recalling is like looking at, I don't know, the Middle Ages, in which he had to pledge somehow allegiance to the Chinese government just to do this simple action. So I think it's our role today. It's important to remember. It's important to continue to act. But I think we have to think what can we do. And I think we have a few ideas that we have been working on in the last few years. There is a bill in Congress which calls for reciprocal access to Tibet. And this is key for people like Tenzin Gyatso Rinpoche and Tibetan prisoners. Not even the Red Cross can go visit Tibetans in prison. They have no legal representation. So the United States of America has a very simple tool. They give visa to Chinese officials all the time to come to the United States. And if the Chinese government continues not to give visa for American officials, NGOs, journalists to go to Tibet, this should be implemented. And if we get access, if we get the reality and the truth on the ground, I think that this will allow also for people to get, for example, legal representation to people like Tenzin Gyatso Rinpoche and others who cannot have it. So there are things that we can do. We know that this is not a moment in which the so-called wave of democracy and human rights are going across the world. We have seen better times in our world, but these are the most important times. To stick to our values, to stick to the principles that have built our societies, because if we don't do that, there are not many people out there who care about that. There are many fears, there are many anxieties. So those who are involved, I think this is the time to stick together and to continue to push for what we know is right. And I think with this work, the results will come. We don't know when, but this is what we need to do. Thank you very much.
Yes, definitely the reciprocal act is definitely something that we can all make come true. We have to act. This is something that that is winnable, but we just need to, engage with our representatives and get them on board. And now I would like to welcome our last guest speaker, our dear friend Sharon Hom from Human Rights China. Sorry, I think the screen is off. Could you please get this?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Pema. So much has already been said, and we say in Chinese, don't draw a snake and then add feet. So I just want to take some of the things that I wanted to say and shorten it and speak more from where my heart is now. So I'm sorry if it's not going to come out as coherent and smooth as reading that I wrote. I first want to really thank Nima and Carl and everyone who's just shared such inspiring and powerful stories, and thank you for your inspiration. I think for all of us working in our communities, I just came back from Hong Kong, and I think for those of us working on mainland issues, and then those of us in the Tibetan community who's been working on trying to fight for Tibetan people, I think these are really dark, difficult, painful, challenging times. So tonight, this is so special to hear so much of the energy and the spirit and the hope in the room. So thank you for helping us, lift us, when we literally crawled back from Hong Kong. It was a really rough time. I want to say that like Tenzin Delek Rinpoche, Tashi Wanchak was simply asserting rights that are protected by Chinese and international law. And he was just defending the survival of his community and the Tibetan language and the culture against what is really a systematic destruction of the existence of a people. And you would think in Hong Kong, they're trying to not allow us to speak Cantonese. So we're really seeing this. We're seeing that it begins, as Tashi Wanchak said, it begins with destroying the language. So it's really important that I was so inspired to see the young Tibetans speak their own language. So thank you, it was very inspiring and moving. I want to thank everyone for holding Liu Xiaobo and Liu Xia and the family in our prayers and our thoughts, because he is in a very last stages in cancer and lying very, very sick. And Carl Gershman asked the question, what kind of government would do this? And I wanted to ask, what kind of government would deny Liu Xiaobo his final space of dignity and freedom? Like not to be engaging and trying to spend his last minutes with his beloved Liu Xia under the surveillance of everyone. What kind of government would deny him this last moment? What kind of government would doctor, edit, manipulate the video footage of the foreign doctors to put out more propaganda? What kind of government would do this? It's the same kind of regime that murdered Tenzin Delek Rinpoche and brutally subjected his family to emotional torture after his death. And even then, they were afraid of his ashes. That's how afraid they are. This is the same regime that's terrified. Why will they not let Liu Xiaobo leave China? Because they are terrified that if he leaves, he will have just enough time to tell the truth about how he was treated This is really a government, and I don't want to call it a government, it's a regime that fears the truth and power of the human spirit. And it's only under this kind of authoritarian, morally and politically bankrupt regime, with someone like Tashi Wanchuk's peaceful actions. He tried to file a lawsuit in a Chinese court. Only under such a government regime would such a life be criminalized and targeted as a crime of incitement. So why I want to repeat the questions about what kind of government this is, in this room, we are all in solidarity. We stand to act. We are standing with hope. But outside this room, I can tell you that's not what's going on. There is so many engagement with China that does not and refuses to see the true face of this government. And I think we need to remind the world when they engage with China, this is the true brutal face of China. And they must engage that. I want to close by sharing a story about Nima. Nima 是最后的，我想写一句说一下，欢迎你，希望有人给你翻译吧。Nima's Chinese is much better, 普通话 better than me, a Cantonese speaker. And I'm hoping someone will translate for her, because I want to say something about her. Can someone please? Thank you, Joyce. So I want to say something about Nima. You've heard some stories from Dorji. I want to share my own story about Nima. Nima, when we look at her, she embodies compassion, courage, and commitment to justice. She is our community's own Wonder Woman. And once in a meeting where we were told by those more powerful than us, sitting at the head of the table. And Nima and I were in the room with a group of other people. And this is what they kept saying to us. You don't understand how difficult, challenging, and impossible it is to make any difference in the face of China's enormous economic and political power. And I will always remember, Nima, your powerful response. And it was one of your first meetings with officials. Nima said, but we who have lost so much, we who live under China's daily oppression, we have not given up. We need you to not give up. So Nima and all of our amazing, wonderful friends at SFT and our colleagues that we work with at ICT and all of our friends in the Tibetan community and all the wonderful activists and community members here, I think we can say that beyond this special day of recognition for Tashi Wanchuk and beyond this special day of remembering the very special life and the legacy and the call to action that Tenzin Delek Rinpoche has led for us, I just think you should know we will always stand in solidarity with you, the Tibetan community, despite the propaganda of the Communist Party keeping our communities apart. We stand with you. And all those who suffer under the ongoing repression and trampling of fundamental human dignity and values, they can take some of our members' freedom for a time. They can imprison some of our members of our community for a time. They can take away health. They could kill some of the members of the community. But I think it's very clear. They can't kill hope, and they can't kill this human spirit. And if I can, what I want to say in Tibetan is Semshuk Macha.
Thank you so much, Sharon, for that very uplifting and powerful words. And as we close, for the evening. I think the message here is that we must continue the work of Tenzin Delek Rinpoche, Liu Xiaobo, and all of those who have sacrificed for freedom in Tibet. And I hope that everyone here feels lifted. And when there is that temptation to feel that despair, look back at the work of Tenzin Delek Rinpoche and Liu Xiaobo and feel re-energized, because they never gave up. They refused to give up. And we must do the same. Thank you. Yes, I'm sorry, we have some refreshments outside.
Thank you.